Welcome to this afternoon's work session. First order of business is if any commissioner would like to take any of the items for next week's meeting.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, number 22. And just a comment for number 7.
And I didn't bring my full book. What is it? What's number 7?
Number 7, recommendation for purchase, installation of playground equipment.
Ms. Rogers.
Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioner. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir, you had a question about.
I just do have a question, kind of a comment on that. I know this contract is awarded out of Missouri, and I just wanted to make it public that if we could begin to do a better job at contracting companies here locally and or if not in the state of Georgia.
Thank you.
For things of this nature.
Yes, and this was off of a co-op that we've used, so understood.
Great.
Okay.
Is that for the playground at Vernon?
Yes, that is for the various playgrounds. We have some, Parks and Recreation has some grant money, and that's SPLOST funding as well.
What's the next one, Commissioner?
The next one was Resolution 2024-266. Stream buffer.
I guess you knew already, huh?
Yes, I heard him. Good afternoon. That matter actually is going to be continued to the December 3rd, 5th? First meeting in December.
Okay. Just wanted to understand why.
This is part of the ongoing development of the data center. So the way that they have, and I don't know if Jeff is here, he's not. So the way I believe that the way that the building is laid out, that it's going to impact a portion of the stream buffer a portion of where the stream is. And so because that requires this board to approve that, that's why this is coming here. It's mainly because of the layout of the building, of how they're pushing it. They've had to orient it because the way that our code reads that they've had to move the power behind the building as opposed to being in the front. It is mainly to not have so much of a big impact on the neighbors, and so they've, based on the topography of the land, that's why they need to make the stream buffer.
Well, we would not be deeding that over. We would still be in control. We're just allowing a buffer for them to build outside of the normal compliance.
That's right.
Okay.
And that'll be coming back with a public hearing component on the first meeting in December.
Great. Thank you.
Any others? All right, here now we're going to our first agenda item, Development Authority of Clayton County update by Dr. Brady. C.H. Brady, he is here. How you doing, sir?
Excuse me.
Good evening. Good evening. Chairman, Vice Chair, Commissioner Hambrick. Certainly, I'm honored to be here today. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Development Authority of Clayton County. We submitted a PowerPoint presentation. Submitted to cheryl.ellis@Clayton County. I can, as we are preparing the presentation submitted to the county, however, while they're pulling it up, I can, if it's okay, I can go ahead and start.
Please.
Won't be long. This is a quarterly, ongoing, moving forward, quarterly pursuant to the IGA that we were able to develop with Clayton County Board of Commissioners, that we would actually have a quarterly meeting with the Board of Commissioners to discuss updates relative to the economic development projects, questions, concerns, address issues as we move forward with bringing a greater Clayton relative to economic development part. Also, within that IGA, we are planning a required annually board meeting that the Board of Commissioners will have with the Development Authority. And that is something that I've been speaking with our COO with regard to, and also will be reaching out to our chairman for this inaugural meeting that we will be having annually. And this will be the first year that we'll actually have this meeting. So that being said, Project Tabernacle, 28 acre mixed use. These are just some projects that we've been looking at, working on. I believe Commissioner Hambrick, this is in your district, the Project Tabernacle, which was a 28 acre mixed use development that will create a vibrant hub for commerce and culture. We're still working with that particular project. Victory Landings, gratefully, Logistics Center is finally done. And that was one of the things that we wanted to do in this, before this year end, was to close out a lot of pending projects. And so Victory Landing, that was upwards of an 75 to $80 million bond finance project, which consists of 700,000 square feet of state-of-the-art industrial space. And this project is positioned right there in Clayton County near the airport, the Mountain View area. The Gilbert Road widening project, that was completed. It's one of the best roads in Clayton County. And so I would ask that you, if you would have some time to actually drive through there, you'll see that that project is slated to be a great host of industrial space that looks up to par. We've met with Georgia Power regarding substations, so that we could attract data centers and certain particular logistics such as that. So with looking at that type of bandwidth, Commissioner Davis, as you know, you need that power source. And so we've been meeting with Georgia Power to see exactly what that would look like. It will take probably 2 years to build a substation. But if we start now, then once we're actually ready for those that data center or data centers to come in right there at the cusp of the airport, we will be ready to receive. Finally, as you may know, we actually closed the Toto's bonding deal. That was a $239 million bond finance for Toto's renovation. Toto's renovation, I would ask, if you have not gone by there, you should definitely go by there and see exactly what they're doing here in Clayton County. It's the first of its kind. They're building a tremendous artificial intelligence factory that will give rise to, in essence, 300 jobs. And it also will give rise to the 270 plus citizens who work there right now, who's making upwards of $90,000 a year for workforce training, because they would have to be trained on this artificial technology to give them an increase in their salaries. So those are solid things that we actually have accomplished. We are engaged on more to actually hit our end of year goals. We have a few things that are in the pipeline that we're pushing forward. One of the things that we're actually trying to hone in on is to culminate the workforce training and development model that we were so graced to receive by the Board of Commissioners through our ARPA COVID CARES Act funding, in which the Development Authority received funds to work with Goodwill of North Georgia, also the Perry Learning Center, and sessions in which we trained. They trained for us several citizens who would receive various certifications. So right now we're in the process of going through that whole, that entire, it was a humongous task because what we did was when we came into this authority, there was a lot of things out there that was just kind of floating around. And so we had to kind of put our arms around everything and see, okay, where are we? What needs to be taken care of? What needs to be cleaned up? Where are the standard operating procedures? So we've been looking at pulling all that together. So a lot of what we had to do was to address the retreads, to address that which is continuously just been going on, and actually put a stop to it, put together a model that is strong with integrity, and clean up a lot that was there that needed to be addressed. So with that being said, also, we, as you may be aware, we have undergone new administration, and so now we are looking to retain the Chasten group. The Chasten group is going to be spearheading our search for our economic executive director for the Development Authority. This group came by virtue of a great recommendation. They specialize in development authorities, both downtown development authorities as well as county development authorities. It will definitely give us it will give me a breath of fresh air to get this done. And of course, our officers, our Vice Chair, Randy Burton, and our Treasurer, Dr. Baskin, the entire authority have been very much so hands-on. This has been a hands-on authority. And it's pretty much shown that, if you cannot just put your trust in staff, you have to be able to put your hands to the plow when you actually don't have the staff. So I say that to say that, we have done a tremendous amount of tear down, and now it's time to build and build solidly so that we can see qualitative, quantitative outcomes and really present something that we can actually be proud of and what we hear moving the county forward. That being said, definitely open to questions. One more thing I want to submit to the Board of Commissioners is that we have kept our eyes on 5711 Jonesboro Road. That's that Ingalls with the parking lot and that whole ordeal there. We've been working diligently with various developers because it is our goal to get that underway and get that taken care of. We've had a major sinkhole that had happened, and so with that, it was kind of a wake-up call. All right, after spending $80,000+ to fix that sinkhole, because it was detrimental that we fixed it. It was a huge sinkhole. That it's time now to address that which needs to be addressed, and that is to get that property on the way for development, okay? And so with that, I am definitely open to questions. I may be missing some things. Again, we submitted the PowerPoint, but I don't know if it got missing, but it's on my phone. So, and I'll make sure that my assistant gets.
I would ask that you still send it to us.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure that my assistant gets the PowerPoint to each of the commissioners, as well as yourself, Chairman. So we are open now for questions.
Any questions for Dr. Brady?
I do have one, and thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for that presentation. As far as projects out there and the ones in the past, what type of, do you keep a record of tax abatement amounts and bonding amounts outstanding?
We don't keep a record of tax abatements, but we do keep a record of bonds that we've issued. Not necessarily bonds that are outstanding per se, but we essentially, if we issue bonds,
Right.
then we will definitely have that record of bonds. So for instance, during COVID, Clorox came and they needed an immediate movement. And because of Clayton County Development Authority, we were actually able to issue bonds to Clorox so that they can ramp up their production. And because of that, Clayton County played a vital role in literally assisting in reducing worldwide the outbreak of COVID, because we were able to get those bonds, and Clorox was able to expand immediately.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir, for your presentation, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Chairman. So we shall see you, I'm thinking around December, I believe, for the
Joint meeting?
joint meeting.
Yeah, I think there's some discussion about a date or something
A date,
like that. That they
okay.
can get out to the commissioners to check on their availability.
All right. Well, also, I want to say thank you to the Board of Commissioners. Chairman Turner, thank you for actually bringing the IGA into fruition. It was a struggle for years, but now we have something to actually guide us. And our future plans is to actually collaborate and with the Chief Economic Development Officer with Clayton County, so that we can actually look at that plan. It could be dated, and so it's a living, breathing document. And so our objective is to get with that plan, get with that staff, and now we become one and work our plan.
Thank you, sir.
All
I
right, thank you.
appreciate
Thank you.
Update on the county's procurement code for annual contract purchasing. Director Rogers.
Good afternoon again, Board. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, thank you all for your time this afternoon. Part of what we do in Central Services is continuing to examine our processes as well as our opportunities to enhance our purchasing process and provide solutions that will allow us to purchase more efficiency. Today, what I want to do is kind of give you a brief overview of some of the things that I'm requesting that you all update within our purchasing code. The first one is our annual contract language. In regards to the annual contract language, there's some limitations there that I would like for you all to approve to allow more, a higher dollar amount to be approved in-house. I will have more slides about that in a moment. Next, I'm requesting to enhance language for poor supplier performance. I'm looking at adding some additional tools inside of our toolbox to give us some of the things that we need to make sure that we have strict policies as it pertains to that. One of the things that I'm looking at doing is that the way that we do have some language in the code, so I don't want you to think the code is silent to that, but the way the language reads is that in order for us to penalize a vendor, they have to have several breaches of contract for terms and conditions. Well, one breach may be enough for us to want to walk away. So the language I'm requesting is to change that from multiple to just one breach. We still have the option, but sometimes something is so egregious that we need to make some changes right away. Another thing I wanted to do is that we, as you all have probably been aware, the last couple of years we talk about our vendor performance evaluation form. It's a rating sheet that we do quarterly with our user department. However, there's nothing behind that that gives us the ability to actually take that document and really penalize the vendor. If you continue to have poor performance, because there's a process, right? You just don't do a poor performance and we just walk away. There is a process. If you're still not changing your performance, there should be something that we can do for that. So that's two of the things I want to enhance for poor supplier performance. The next one is just additional definitions. I think it's always important for us to be transparent to our vendors and as well as our citizens about procurement terms. You all know we do talk in that code quite a lot, so I wanted to enhance some definitions in our code. And finally, cleanup language. That's really just clerical things that we need to clean up. It's not administrative, just changing some language here and there. So those are the four things. But tonight I want to focus on the first one to give you a little bit more information. And I do have my notes because I'm aware of my timeline, so I want to make sure that I capture everything. So, oh, did I? Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll focus right here on the annual contract overview. I want to give you, of course, the purchasing code in the section. So annual contracts are approved by the Board of Commissioners. There are one-year contracts, multiple one-year periods for renewal. Also, I wanted to make sure you all are aware that the renewal is optional, that the county does not automatically have to renew those contracts. That's important. Also, it's for certain commodities, products, and services. We do look at what a user department purchases, and we make sure we try to have annual contracts. And then also they're at predetermined prices or rates. So those are the things that make up an annual contract. The purpose of that annual contract is to allow us to really shorten the time frame it takes for us to get those goods and services. So here we are, the challenges. So it's a repetitive process that I want us to look at. The first thing is that all annual contracts are approved by the board. The budget for those contracts are approved by the board. You either approve them when you do your budget, our fiscal year process, or the CFO will bring them back for a budget amendment. The way the code reads is that if that purchase is over $100,000, we have to still come back to the board again. So that's the third time, which is, I feel like is probably repetitive because you have already approved the annual contract, the chairman has executed that, and you have already approved the budget. Now we're having to come back again to actually ask you to change that. I wanted to give you some ideas of the challenging contracts that we have. The A&E service that we use for design for our SPLOST projects, those are under annual contracts. The price rate is already set. Fleet vehicles, if we want to purchase off of a contract that you have already approved for money you have already funded, if we're purchasing a vehicle, and it only takes two at this rate to go over $100,000, we have to bring that back to you all. Also, roadway engineering inspection services. Once again, these are annual contracts that have been competitively bid either through the county or through another government source. We have to bring that back as well. Also, the IT maintenance agreement. You all have approved the original agreement with the maintenance in it, and that includes sometimes, the additional 3%. We have to bring those back for you to approve as well. So also blanket POs, purchase orders. That means that, just to give you an idea, let's say that fleet department needs to purchase $100,000 worth of widgets over 1 year, right? And they don't know exactly what they need, spark plugs or whatever. The most efficient way to do that is to have one purchase order for that dollar amount. As they buy those items, they just deduct them from that $100,000. Once again, you all give the money to them in July. So we could encumber that money early in July, and we don't have to worry about rushing through the season to try to actually make sure we have that purchase. So the blanket POs is another one that falls into that category because 9 times out of 10, they're purchasing off an annual contract. So if you'll take a look, I don't know if you all have the agenda that's coming up, 3 or 4 items are actually annual contract items that would not even be on the agenda. So we did take a look and see, and probably about 25% to 30% of what we bring to you all annually through our requests is annual contract items. Now, we still have to process the purchase order, right? But now we have to go through an additional step. So for me, that is not efficiency at all. Certainly not of time. Certainly, it can cause project delays, and sometimes the item may not be available. For instance, if, cars are still a challenge now. So we have a vendor that we work with under a contract. So if he locates cars for us and we're in between cycles with the Board of Commissioners, then we're trying to figure out how can we make sure that you're able to hold that car for the county while we go to the Board of Commissioners to approve a contract they've already approved with funding that they've already approved. So those are some of the challenges that we have with that as well. So how do we resolve this? I've been working with the COO's office. We actually had a procurement task force that we put together with 3 departments that are heavy users for us. That would be building and maintenance, parks and recreation, as well as T&D, to look at some of the challenges that we're facing. We also did some SWOT analysis within our department, and we knew that the annual contracts were part of a concern. And once again, the user departments that we work with on that task force agreed with us. So here's a recommendation that I would like for you all to discuss or make sure that you all are aware of why we're making that recommendation. So the request is to allow purchases for annual contracts that are board approved, budget approved by the board that exceed $100,000 to allow us to do that internally. Now, it will require written and executed approval from the COO and the CFO. At that point, that information comes over to Central Services. We process the actual PO, and we actually make sure that we have the executed documents. They become a part of the record as well. So this is also for annual maintenance agreements that do not exceed the 20% increase. Once again, all these items have been approved by the board as well as the budget. The fiscal year budget or budget amendment that was adopted by the BOC. And then finally, any any purchase that does not meet those guidelines will default back to you all as the approval and the chairman as the signature authority. So those are my requests, and certainly if you have any questions or any clarifications, I'm certainly open to that for you all.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Well, will that come before us on the next regular business meeting?
Yes, it would either come next week or it will come the first one in December, because we want to make it effective, so I need to just get some documentation, but it would either come back next board meeting or the 3rd, I think, in December for your changes.
And when are you asking that it be effective?
Immediately, because once again, if you look at your agenda for where we're going for next week, we have about 3 to 4 items on there that are annual contract items. And
It wouldn't affect those, or would it?
no, it wouldn't affect those, but it would affect everything after that. And what I am doing as well is I sent out a request to all the department heads to make sure that I know what they need to purchase before we end the fiscal year, and I think a lot of that will be off annual contracts as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioners? I do have one.
Yes, sir.
The point 1 on the recommendations, allow purchases equal to or exceeding 100,000.
Yes.
Okay. Explain that one more time, maybe I'm on the short bus.
Sure. So if there is a purchase of $100,000, we can't move forward off an annual contract without board approval. So we're asking for anything that's at $100,000 or above to be able, and it meets all the requirements with the approval of the board, contract, and budget to allow us to do that internally, meaning that we will send that request over to the CFO and the COO. And if they are in agreement with it, then we can go ahead and issue the purchase order.
The purchase order, but
Yes.
that would still come back before the board?
No, it will
never
not.
come back?
No, it will not. At that point, the process would be completed. But we would store all the documents inside of Central Services.
Okay. I'm just thinking here,
We would have already approved.
we would have already approved it,
Right.
understand that. But if we've approved something, let's just say for 75, and all of a sudden it's come back at 250.
Sure, so once again, once it's approved and we have that dollar amount, anything other than that makes it a change order then.
Okay.
So that change order has a process that is limited to $75,000 internally. So we're not asking to change that. So if it goes over $75,000, because it is your contract, meaning board approved, it comes back to you all to actually approve that change order.
That was my concern.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Right, any PO or contract that would exceed that, that $75,000 initial amount would come back to you all for approval.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Marcus?
No, I was just going to add, well, I think one thing to help clarify what Ms. Carroll is asking is that this is up to the value of the contract,
There we go.
right? So once you approve that annual contract, and let's just say it, I don't know, it has a cap of $500,000. Well, depending on what we're purchasing and how much we're purchasing, we may have to come back several times for something you've already authorized us to do.
I understand.
Which is just kind of re-explaining the same thing. So this doesn't remove your ability to see the contract before it gets approved and we
Right.
start purchasing. We're just trying to cut down on the number of times we have to come ask you to do the same thing.
Great, great. Thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
thank you.
Okay. Next up, our Aflac voluntary benefits. Ms. Angela Woods.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners, and good evening to our Clayton County citizens. Before we get started, we do want to sincerely thank the board for your continued support of our benefits. As you all know, we are in full swing with open enrollment. It ends this Friday, so to our employees who have not enrolled, we encourage you to go ahead and enroll. This is your opportunity. I also want to let the board know that we have some dynamic, value-added wellness initiatives that we're going to be rolling out, and the best part of that is there will be no cost to the county for any of these things. Our benefit mix consists of voluntary benefits that are 100% paid by our employees. Currently, Colonial is our provider for our voluntary benefits. However, we have had several serious challenges with the administration of these the Colonial accounts. Ms. Angela Woods is the best suited to present to the board what those challenges are and what our proposed solution is. So without further ado, I'm going to call up Ms. Angela Woods. We also have our MMA team, as well as Ms. Toni Morrison, the Assistant Manager of Benefits.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Elms. Good evening, board members. Tonight's agenda will consist of the challenges and solutions that we would like to present, the marketing results, Aflac highlights, and HR's recommendations. The challenges: currently, employees are not able to enroll in all options of the Colonial offer. Employees are not updated timely in Colonial system. There's been numerous hours spent reconciling the bills, finding discrepancies, and correcting these discrepancies. The solution that we are presenting would be a vendor that is technology friendly with the Alight system. The Alight system is the benefit enrollment system that has all of the health benefits that we offer the employees. Our broker, MMA, did send this out to market, and we also want to know exactly how many employees were currently enrolled in Colonial. Currently, we have 1,132 employees enrolled in the different levels of benefit plans. Here on this slide, these are all the carriers that responded. As you can see, Aflac was the only carrier that actually was able to offer all the current lines of coverage. Some of the highlights that we have for Aflac would be that they do offer all lines of coverage. It would be technology friendly because all of the lines of coverage would be in the system for employees to enroll in. They are offering a 3-year rate guarantee, which is good. and it will also decrease the amount of time that it's taking us to go through all the discrepancies that we currently go through with Colonial. The Aflac accident policy, they are offering to pay an extra 25% for claims due to sports. They do have an added wellness benefit that has been increased from $50 to $100. The gunshot wound, most of our public safety officers would benefit from this benefit. It is currently it is set up where it's not in the Alight system. The employees will actually have to call Colonial to speak with a Colonial representative to enroll. This will eliminate that. They will now be able to actually go into the system and just select that they want this coverage. The hospital indemnity, this is one of my favorites, I could say, because expecting mothers currently, when they enroll, they have a look-back period for pre-existing conditions. If we do move to Aflac, this will allow expecting mothers to be covered on day one when they enroll. The Aflac critical illness, cancer is one of the driving illnesses that is actually causing high-cost claims with our benefit plans. Aflac is offering a guaranteed issue from $30,000 to $40,000 for employees and spouses, and it's also offering a lower rate than Colonial. The life insurance, just like the public safety, this is one that the employees will have to actually call and speak with a representative to get enrolled in. This benefit will include a long-term care policy rider, which will pay off the death benefit of the insured if they have lost 2 activities of daily living or cognitive impairment. HR's recommendation would be to move to the Aflac plan effective 3/1. Currently, we are in open enrollment. The Colonial coverages are currently locked, and we're not allowing new enrollments depending on the outcome of the Aflac move, the transition to Aflac. If approved, we will offer off-cycle enrollment in February. In February.
Okay.
Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
First of all, why haven't we done this earlier? Number one.
Okay.
And I'm really checking to see, maybe I missed it in the beginning, what are the, all the services that are rendered with Aflac? I know I'm looking at life, and I guess medical, because you said something about the pregnant women, even if they're pregnant.
That falls under the hospital indemnity. The
Okay.
medical is with the Anthem and the Kaiser plan. This is an added voluntary benefit.
Okay, so what all, if an employee signed up with Aflac, what coverage would they receive?
Currently, we offer hospital indemnity, critical illness, whole life, gunshot, and accident. And all of these will be covered under Aflac as well. So it'll be the same coverage with better benefits, with the better outcome of the benefits, I should say.
And Commissioner Hambrick, this does lie on the voluntary side, whereas where employees can purchase, let me make sure I'm speaking into the mic. This does lie on the voluntary side, and the voluntary side allows our employees to purchase additional insurance to what we currently offer. So Clayton County, we offer the medical, we offer the dental, we offer the vision, we offer the life. That's what we offer as our core benefits. The voluntary benefits are for employees who may want to purchase a little bit more than what we are offering. And this is 100% paid by the employees, but we do have a fiduciary duty to make sure that we are providing the best option for them. Now, back in 2017, 2018, we made a major change with our voluntary benefits because we had them all over the place. So Colonial came in and they offered us a group plan because originally they were voluntary plans, individual plans, which are more expensive than a group plan. So we did make a change with them initially, which benefited the employees because they were offered a lower premium. But there has just been, we value our partnerships. We have tried to work with them to get this corrected. We don't like throwing people under the bus, but at the end of the day, they're not doing what it is that we need them to do. And the last thing HR wants is for one of our employees to have a benefit that they think they have, and because of some type of error, they don't have it.
Okay, now with Aflac, you can get the same coverage that you may already have with someone else. Do they still pay, or do they act as a secondary?
They will still pay.
They will
The
still-
current, yes, the current employees that are enrolled in Colonial, they will have the option to go direct bill, meaning they pay Colonial directly. But when we do open up the open enrollment for Aflac, they would have to re-enroll in those coverages they would like to select.
Okay, so if they have whatever name.
Hospital indemnity.
Right,
Uh-huh.
right.
They can
and
enroll
it's
in
paid
hospital-
by whatever other company. They will still get paid by Aflac?
Aflac.
Does that go directly to the employee?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Any other questions, Commissioner Reeves?
I think you answered the question that I had in your follow-up.
Great, thank you. I also have one, which is the gunshot wound.
Yes.
Is any of that automatic for our first responders?
It's
In
not
any of the
automatic. They
in
would have
any
to
of the other
enroll.
plans?
I'm sorry.
In any of the other plans? Is that available to them?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
yes, for the life.
I know we increased the life. I know the life was increased, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
The public safety life benefit.
okay,
Good.
yeah.
I do want to commend the board for that, because on the public safety line that you all approved, that's an automatic enrollment. They
Great.
don't have to do anything to get that. They are covered from day one.
Great.
And we do appreciate the board for that. That's a huge benefit for our law enforcement and public safety. So thank y'all for that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and
And,
if-
go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, go, Commissioner Hamburg, go ahead.
I was interrupting.
Okay. My last one, is open enrollment for Aflac now?
No.
When will that start?
We plan, if approved, then we will go with February.
Okay,
February 3rd through the 14th, a 2-week enrollment
2025.
with a 3/1 effective date in 2025.
Great, thank you.
You're
Commissioner
That
Hamburg?
was my question. When does it start?
Okay.
Great, great.
I
Okay,
just wanted to
go ahead.
add, if I may,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Maureen Rosen from March MMA, I just wanted to add that there is going to be plenty of communication that would come from the HR team to the employees of Clayton County to let them know that we will be leaving Colonial to move over to Aflac, and that the equivalent benefits will be offered to them, and then assist them with anyone that wants to continue a plan that's able to be ported, meaning
Great.
take it with you. You can take it and pay for it direct. So we will communicate and let them know exactly how they can keep their Colonial policy if they choose to do that. All are portable except for that hospital indemnity, but they can call a telephone number, we'll provide that. They'll be able to reach out to Colonial and speak with them and tell them they want to keep their policy and arrange for billing. But otherwise, we'll communicate the plans, the rates, the ease of which they can enroll on the site. So we'll
Great.
This is not our first rodeo with this. Back in 2017, 2018, when we made the change, we're going to make sure that we communicate with our employees, so the board, you all can count on that.
Thank you.
now-
Commissioner Hamburg? Go ahead.
Yes,
and we'll provide counselors available too to answer the phone for any questions.
so we're still providing the Colonial, and I'm reading on here that,
No, ma'am, if I said that, we're saying that if someone should decide that they want to keep what they have, they will be able to port that policy,
Oh,
which
okay.
means they will now go on direct bill. So someone
Okay.
just has an allegiance to Colonial for one reason or another, or decides that that's the plan they have, they would have the opportunity to continue it, direct pay through Colonial, just not
Great.
through payroll deduction.
oh, okay. Well, I hope they read this about the employees' coverage is at risk.
We're gonna,
Yes.
gonna give them a lot of information ahead of time.
Well, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, it's a no.
None? Great, well,
Thank y'all so
Ms.
much.
Ambles, thank you for, I know we have pushed and pushed and pushed, but I think we're you can tell from our faces, we're a lot happier up here.
That's right.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you all so much.
Okay. Next, I know House Bill 451, that has been taken off the agenda. Next up is IT, the org restructure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board. As Director Montalvo is coming up, I did want to preface her presentation tonight with, we do have an understanding of the standing procedural rules with reclassifications. However, in Section 3, there is a clause that allows us to bring something before the board if circumstances have arisen post-budget adoption that necessitate a move. And working with Director Montalvo and working through some of the challenges that she's had post-budget adoption and some of the decisions that were made during the budget, we feel that this does necessitate bringing this before the board to see if there's a will for us to turn this request over to Director Ambles and let her process it through our normal processes and bring it before the board to a vote. So with that, I'll kick it over to Director Montalvo and let her walk you through her challenge.
Thank you for that explanation, because that's what I was figuring. Now, how does this differ from what we were saying? So thank you.
We read the last sentence of that section, ma'am, so we're good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jamie.
Good evening, Vice Chair, Commissioners. My name is Jamie Montalvo. I'm the Chief Information Officer, and I'll be here today to brief some requests for org changes within the IT department. So this is an overview of our current org structure. The positions that I'll be talking about are in the software development division, and you see them highlighted in the orange color. Our current software system for the courts and the sheriff's office is 40-plus-year-old customized system. And so in February of 2020, we started a project to begin to create a new customized system to replace the current one. In May of 2021, the jury system was completed, and that's currently still in use. In November of 2022, the LEATS, or Law Enforcement Employee Tracking System, was completed. That's out of scope for the courts and the sheriff's office. However, it is relevant for police departments' hiring processes. In June of 2023, we completed the criminal warrant and warrantless arrest for magistrate court. However, that's for internal law enforcement only. So that would be Clayton County Police Department and the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. So for example, if you were from Jonesboro, Lake City, Morrow, PD, and you needed to issue a warrant for someone inside of Clayton County, then you had to use another system, therefore making magistrate court use two systems to do their business processes. In October of 2023, we completed the first appearance module for magistrate court, but like I said, it's only for internal law enforcement. And then in May of 2024, it was decided to end the software development project. So about 30% of the overall system was completed, but that's without the CJIS testing and penetration testing for data security. So in addition to internal software development staff, we also had to hire contract software development staff. As you can see, these numbers projected here, in FY23, we spent over $1.5 million. In FY24, over $1.7 million. And then in FY25, we had an initial budget request of $2.1 million for contract software developers just for the project. That was reduced to $600,000. So we have a projected spend this FY for $250,000. That's for contract software developers for our current system that the courts are using. And then we also spent less than $500,000 for a Gartner assessment, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So as I stated before, in May of 2024, it was decided to terminate the customization of the software project. It was decided to do with Gartner Consulting and needs assessment for the courts and sheriff's office, and we intend to publish an RFP for a third-party software solution. And we're still in the process of completing that. All of the initial interviews are completed, and then Gartner is conducting a market analysis to understand which software systems and vendors are out there. So due to the termination of the project, the positions of senior software architect, senior software developer, and software developer are no longer relevant. We're asking for some title changes from software developer to IT business system administrator. And also making these changes will assist with the implementation, security, and maintenance of a third-party software solution. So as you can see, currently we have 4 vacancies, and all of those vacancies align with the software developer positions. Those personnel have decided to continue on their software development path. The job responsibilities and duties of software developer versus IT business systems administrator are vastly different, and so they decided to leave the county so they could continue on their path. So what I'm asking for is 1 senior software architect to change to division manager of public safety applications. This is also in line with our division manager of our enterprise application support division. They help support mainly our ERP system that assists finance, HR, and central services in their job duties. 1 senior software developer to a senior IT business systems administrator. 1 senior software developer to business intelligence developer that will assist with reporting, dashboards, and give us a clear return on investment. 5 software developers to IT business systems administrators, 1 business intelligence analyst to IT business systems administrator, 1 software support specialist to business process analyst, and 1 systems administrator to infrastructure administrator to help with cloud technologies. And so overall, making these changes within IT will save $5,425 annually. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the bodies are here, the personnel is here, is that correct? You're just changing the titles, position titles?
So not all of them, as I stated, we have 4 current vacancies,
Right.
but the other ones, yes ma'am, they're here, and some of them will be reclassifications, and then some of them will be simple title changes.
Okay.
Commissioner Reeves?
Can you repeat the cost saving, because it sounds like you're not asking the board to, like, you're not asking for an increase in your,
No,
in your
ma'am.
budget
Yes,
for these
ma'am.
staff?
So
but
the
it's a cost
savings would be $5,425 annually.
That's with the 4 open positions?
Yes, ma'am, that's with the 4 open positions and the title changes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Reeves?
Well, this might have, I feel like y'all might already know the answer to this, but you were saying you spent a couple of years working on the software for,
This for the courts and the sheriff's office, yes ma'am.
okay, to update the 40-year-old system.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the project was completely scrapped?
Yes, ma'am. So, speaking with the chief judges, I spoke with the COO and the chairman, and we just decided that it's taking entirely too long. Most municipalities go with a third-party software solution. And so in order to make sure that we have what we need, that's why we did the Gartner assessment, so we could get that needs assessment and put out an effective RFP so we get the right product.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question, and this may not be for you all, but I remember in your presentation, you were saying that some changes were made so you could connect or have the same information. So can we being law enforcement, I guess, and the judicial system too, can they go into the system for other counties or other municipalities or even other states, especially our police and sheriff?
It really depends. I know like magistrate court and like warrants and things like that,
Right.
They're able to, other municipalities are able to look in the system and see what's warrants are issued. However, to sharing of information, you usually have to have intergovernmental agreements to share that information
But
with
do
each
we have
other.
that capability?
Currently, right now, no ma'am.
And I understand where she's going with this. First of all, let me say, I'm more than willing to come sit down with those, because though I see where you're going with this, one of the things I see is, has there been a mapping of your business processes.
So
Go ahead.
That's what they're currently doing with the needs assessment. They're gathering all of the requirements from all of the offices, and that scope of work will be specified in the RFP.
Okay. And also, in a sense, following where Commissioner Hambrick was going, has there been a need to make determinations on data sharing, on how business is done now, opposed to how it was done 40 years ago, with the legacy system and the system going forward?
So, Commissioner, thank you for your question. So that lies the biggest part of why Director Montalvo is making this request, and why a large segment of the 40-year-old and the fully customizable option was just simply not going to work. Because of the need to have that level of information sharing. It's no different than the mandates that came out with healthcare information sharing through the Affordable Care Act, and the high-tech portions of the HIPAA that now requires information sharing. The legacy system we had was making that extremely difficult. That process was started under our previous director of information technology, so I know Director Montalvo has been working to straighten out some things internally since she came in, and this has really kind of been her first opportunity to take that bite at the apple. So she's trying to get us to a point to where we can fix all of those issues, and the off-the-shelf solution is going to be the best for that, with the ability to have some customization that would be specific to our courts and how we operate. But to Commissioner Hambrick's point, that would open up a lot of those portals for that direct communication that we could have.
I understand. I understand. And I don't want to go too far into, but the customization process, I understand. Also, the third-party vendors, I've been on both sides of the fence on those, and I understand the control, and I understand sometimes the hurdles or the gates that are kept closed for us, and that's what I want to begin to look at as far as a maintenance plan. What's in place there? What level of customizations are put in? As far as even your cyber portion, is a third-party cyber that's going to handle a lot of this, or is this innated into the software and into the database?
So a lot of our cybersecurity, of course, is handled internally by Director Montalvo and our cybersecurity team, which does a phenomenal job.
They do.
Thankfully, we've not been on the news, and we want to stay that way. But given that, we also understand the county has not historically had good luck with fully customizable processes. Our previous CAD system was designed off the old AS400, and two people that worked for Clayton County knew how to program it, and when they both left, nobody knew how to program our CAD system.
The only one that had the AS400 experience is sitting up here.
Well, and is talking to you. So, we historically speaking, we've had challenges with fully customized, and they've left the county in a lurch on several occasions. So we've tried now to be a little bit more cognizant about these packages, so that we don't find ourselves with one person leaving with all the institutional knowledge, and we're either forced to hire them back as a contractor at twice the money we were paying them before, or we got to go hire somebody now to do a completely forklift upgrade.
Well, I have no problem, since I am free of charge. Use me where you need me to be used with this.
On Monday, please.
I didn't just hear that.
I'm out of town Monday. But yeah, no, I've done this work for over 35 years. So it's some of the largest vendors in the country and in the world. So I'm more than willing to answer questions or step in where you may see something.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions? No? Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and I guess number 6, land development, that has also been pulled as well. So, do we have any others? That's it, it looks like. Let me think, let me go back to the second page. I don't see a second page, commissioners. All right. Anything, anybody? We good? We stand adjourned. Thank you all.
All right, thanks, everybody.